Hi guys, nice quick one today hopefully. So just an explanation and a run through of a couple of different types of project level documents. So if you're not familiar with this, what we're talking about a project level document, we're talking about documents that sit above the case level. So you've always had case level documents, which have lived under the summary section, but what we're talking about today are project level documents, documents that you can create or import from the project level. And I like to recommend and use these as the change management, process management, support management, whatever tracking system, so that you can, if you put in a tiny bit of effort in the front, you can helps you with transition plans and with understanding model changes. And yeah, in general, it's a good idea to try and keep this intact. And so I've got an example here just to show you a couple of the basic things that you can do in this system. It's not as fully featured as Word, obviously. It's a little, if you talk about our spreadsheets compared to regular Excel, our spreadsheets are much closer to Excel functionality than these documents are to Word functionality. But you do have a couple of things that you can do that make it a little easier to work with. So you can see I've got a table of contents here. And what that comes from is my references section. In particular, it comes from the different levels. Now, the levels themselves are going to be, you've got these headers, these heading types, and it's a little hard to see without hovering which header is which, but you'll have heading 3, heading 4, heading 5, etc. You can also define text as a type of heading by going to the references section and going add text. And so if you hover on some text down here, this is level 5 text. If I select that text and make it level 5, it gives it a specific formatting, and then if I update my table, you'll see the level structure come down here. So we've got, in this example, there's level 1, level 2, level 3, and there's a level 5. If I dump in level 4, it will adjust it. But so it allows me to, in this example, what I like to do is if I make a change to a model via support, so if you ask me to team view into your model, and you don't already have one of these documents, I'm starting to add this document so that I keep track of the things that we've done, so that if you pick up an old model or a newer model and you see a functionality difference between the two, you can go to the support process management, change management document that's in the model that's working differently, and you can say, oh yep, they made this adjustment to the functionality, or they found this issue with this dependency, or whatever it is, just so that there's a basic history of the major changes in the model. There's no automation to this. We don't write to this programmatically or mail merge or do fields or anything like that at this stage, although if you have ideas about things that would be helpful for you to keep track of, we don't want to keep track of everything because there's a lot of things to keep track of, but if there's some things you want to automatically keep track of, please let us know what you think might be helpful. But to just show you quickly how we got here, I'll create a new document. If you've already seen enough, you're good to go, but if you just want to see how we created this from scratch, we'll create a new document. I like to start with just throwing in the contents at the top, and then we'll create a new page, so the contents will just live at the top. If you don't want to do contents, it's fine. You can just have obviously you can have just a big document. We then sort of can break this up into separate sections. So you might have a workflows, and then you might have data import, you might have schedule runs, you might have haulage reporting. And so each of these, so you'll have the workflow, which will be a heading 1. You have each of these, which might be heading 2s, and then underneath this, you can copy and paste pictures in here. So if you take a screenshot, and I'll just take, for argument's sake, I'll just take a screenshot of this. It's coming up in my Snagit, but I'll come across and I'll paste it. You can paste images in here. If you want to, you can control some formatting of these. You can also set them to be a particular type of caption. So you can put a figure caption underneath an image, and if we go with insert caption, this is another type of table. So you can add a table of contents, which is automatically added workflows. You can see the data import. I can also add a table of figures, which will show me where the figures are. So there's not a significant number of things you can do, but there's a handful of very useful things. The only other thing being is that if you want to get to one of these particular documents, you can, if you just click on them, it gives you the opportunity to change their name, but to actually go to them, you hold the control button on your keyboard when you go to click them. Alternatively, if you right click and choose open hyperlink, you can do that too. But yeah, that was pretty much all it was. If you have a PDF document, we don't do PowerPoint imports, but you can export a PowerPoint to PDF. We do PDF imports. I don't recommend PDF as frequently for, say, a living document like this would be. I'd call this a living document, one that you might want to make changes to, add notes to, add comments to. But if you've got something like, this is the seam structure, this is the drill and blast setup, these various documents that previously have had to live outside of Spry, you can import PDF directly into Spry. It's read-only, so it's a little bit different to the structural, like the documents you can change, like Word documents, but you will get your chapters just like you have in a regular PDF document, so that can be quite helpful as well. That's it. That was just the run through of the project level documents. If you don't know, now you know, and have a good weekend, and we'll see you next time.